54? No, 54. We are on 54. Sometimes I got to double check myself. Real quick before we start, I always want to thank the friends that make this happen. Obviously, the original crew, which is Bradulist, Jeff Howes, Zachary Rowe. Oh, better mute.
We
Sorry.
are 54. Sometimes I got to double
Hold on a
check
second.
myself. Real quick before.
Let's do it again. Bradulist, Jeff Howes, Zachary Rowe, Michael Newman, Bruce Garris, Hannah Gunson. By the way, check out his channel. John Jex, Michael Shy, Justin Maybe, David Madison, and of course, Lawrence Petros from LPD Pedals, and of course the other crew, which is Bob Pickwood, Tim, John Levitt, Space Jazz, Alvaro and Luis from Pedal Pal Effects, Ricky Robson, James M. Biles, Chuck Keene, Chris Glaze, Dylan87, who's about to do his t-shirt, Jonathan Pickering, Joe Watson, Brent Odell, and Russ from Taurus Pedals, and a new one, which is Michael Lindner. So thank you again, and of course to everyone else. And then one other fun little announcement, which let me get back to my main screen here so we can all see each other, so to speak. There we go. Hey, what's going on? Is I just want to also make a quick announcement before I get started again, that as soon as I hit it, hold on a second, guys. Just going to find this for you. I just want to say thank you. Oh, wrong screen. Here it is. Can you see that? Yep. Congratulations to Scott Karstensen. Scott won the this month's shirt. So every month for the year of 2018, there's a different guitar on the logo. This month was a Les Paul for the month of February, and he won one. So I want to thank him and let him know. Thank you again to everybody on Patreon. And let's get back to it. So how's everybody doing? Let me get to the screen where I can see what you're saying. So, woo, what a way to start. A lot of stuff. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to get into your comments and questions in 1 second. Just want to, like I said, do the announcements. I did all those announcements. I want to announce, I'll probably do it at the end of the show too, just because I did a horrible job so far this year doing this, and I want to make sure I do it. So on the t-shirts, so you guys understand that every month, in fact, I'm going to tell you guys right now, so you don't have, every month there's a different logo. So what we're going to do for 2018, there's the new updated logo, which is fine. That logo is available all year. The one with the Strat style guitar on it, that's available all year. Okay. And, but every month, there's a different, same logo, but a different guitar. So that way, if you guys have a special guitar you would like on your logo, for the month of February, it's a Les Paul. Next month, the month of March, it's a Telecaster. And some of them, I'm going to tell you the funniest one. So June is going to be a left-handed guitar. So if you're a left-handed player, we'll have a left-handed logo shirt in June. Maybe we'll do something cool with that too as well. July, there's a hollow body. September, there's an SG. October's a Warlock. November's a Dan Electro style guitar. December looks like a Rickenbacker guitar. May is going to be an offset style guitar, like a Jaguar Jazzmaster. So every month, there's going to be a different shirt, same logo, but just a different guitar. I just thought I'd share that because I did such a horrible job explaining it. Well, not even explaining it until last week, and it's pretty much a month's over. So if you guys are interested in the Les Paul one, it ends in 5 days, and then that's it. So, and they'll all come back again next year, but with a slightly different logo. So it just gives everybody options. So it makes it more personal so that if you guys have a guitar you want to, kind of proudly display, we'll try and hit them all. If you have suggestions, if you notice I didn't cover all the months, I think it's because we have 1 or 2 blank spots, because I think we're going to leave that as a suggestion. So maybe put those in there, a guitar shape that you'd like to see. Okay, I'm going to go to Mike's question. Hey, Phil, you're on a boat, which already sounds like a bad idea. You're on a boat, and it's sinking, which is okay. And your entire with your entire amp collection, and you can only save one. What would you say? Probably my Princeton Reverb, that or my Mesa Boogie Mark V. Now, I really like my Princeton Reverb. It's right there. In fact, you can see there's cable in it. That's what I was playing earlier today. I play that amp a lot. I love, my Friedman. I love my PRS Custom 50. My 65 Deluxe Reverb. I like all pretty much my traditional amps. I really like this Hughes and Kittner Grandmeister that I have behind me. I don't know. Let's see if you can see it in the shot. Yeah, you can see right there. That's fantastic. But I don't know what it is. The Princeton always works for me. It just plugs in. It sounds great. And everyone who comes over and hangs out, they always come to the same conclusion too, messing with the amps. I think it's because you can just run a pedal through it. Now, if I was cranking and playing louder, the Princeton would probably have some issues, but for me, the Princeton just does it for me. So that's the amp I save. Okay. Next question. What do we got? Michael De La Torre says, thoughts on the Fishman Fluence pickups? We've been asked that before. He says, I finally jump on the wagon with the HSS pickguard in my Strat. I love the Fishman Fluence stuff. Obviously, Frank Falbo, if you guys know Frank Falbo, he was part of the R&D team that brought that to fruition. And I really respect Frank. In fact, a Falbo hollow body is kind of what one of my dream guitars I've been working on for hollow body. And so, yeah, I do want to get a Fishman set. I really do. And I'm probably going to very soon, you know, because it's all my, let's put it this way, it's on my radar and I love them. It's just when the money pops in the right situation pops, I'm going to get it. There you go. I want to say somebody said something about the 68 Princeton. It jumped. And if I can get to it, I'll get back to it. I'm going to try something different too. I'm going to try to hit some of the earlier questions. So there's 500 of us and I appreciate you guys all hanging out. It's Friday, right? You got to love it. Friday. The weekend's already here. If you had a bad week or a good week, either way, the weekend's here. So I had a mixed week. I had bad and good. You know how that goes, right? It was like, what do you call it? Like yin yang. For every bad thing that happened to me this week, something good happened. So I think I came out okay. Okay. There's a question, Mark, and I want to answer it. I'm just confused by it a little bit. It says, Mark, is a PRS standard worth buying or get a custom? Now, when you say standard and custom, because they don't make the standard core, I think you're probably talking about the SEs. And I want to point out something that came up this week. If you guys know Cheddar Kung Pao, obviously he's a patron for the channel. He supports the channel huge. Last week I think I was wearing the Cheddar Kung Pao t-shirt. He sent me something this week that was really interesting. He sent me on Sweetwater. He was showing me that the PRS Custom 24 that they have in Sweetwater, when you look on the back, it's made in Indonesia, not Korea now. So I don't really have a feeling on that. Like I said, I trust the Indonesian stuff. I think they make really good stuff. A couple of the guitars I bought that from Indonesia are really good. But to answer your question, is the standard worth buying or should you get a custom? I don't know. I don't have enough experience in both to tell you. I kind of lean towards the custom because I like some of the options that come with that. That's my thing. You know what I mean? So I guess it comes back down to the same as everything. If you're trying to save some money, I don't think you'll be unhappy with standard. But if you got the money to add, man, go get the thing that's just slightly better. And I think that's good advice for anything, right? If you got the money, you'll never regret buying better. So, and then I should remind you, never say never. Okay, so V Music channel page says, do you have any insight on world music in South Korea and possible to get info on them? Well, what's the information you want on them? They're an OEM. They're a manufacturer in Korea that builds dozens and dozens of different brands of guitars. They generally only make mid-price guitars. They don't make $2,000 guitars, and they don't make $200 guitars. They make right in the middle of the meat of the market, and they are notoriously known for being really good as a manufacturer. Okay. Okay, here's a good one. Rocker1234 says, what is your opinion on the Peavey Valve King 112 50-watt combo MK1, Mark 1? Picked one up, used for $125, great condition. Well, first of all, I think for $125, you can't go wrong. The Valve King stuff, again, it's Peavey maybe is, depending on how you look at it, does something so really, really well. And I think they do that 5150 metal sound really well. And I think the Valve King is another series where it's like, it's a really good amp and it was priced really well and used a steel. They're hard to beat. And so really, it really comes down to this. If you like that sound, that heavy saturated kind of 5150 sound, and then that amp is a great amp. And I think you got a great deal. It's a good way to go. So the only holdback is I can't blanketly say, hey, everybody should buy one, because if you'd like a less heavy distorted sound, then the Valve King's probably not the one for you, but you can't beat that deal. 125 bucks. The tubes probably cost close to that. Okay, so Indie Trucks 2003 did a super chat. Thank you, Indie Trucks. I appreciate it. It says, just catching the end of the show. Was out buying a Helix LT. So far, it's pretty cool. So thoughts. You know, I'm really interested in that. So if I'm really interested in that pedal because I thought $600 sound like a sound price point. I actually was thinking about buying one. Before I bought it, though, I sent an email to Line 6 just to say, hey, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I have this channel. Any interest in sending me one to review? I haven't heard from them because I thought, you know, the only thing better than buying one is would be able to check one out first and make sure. I've heard exactly what you said. Some people are saying it's fantastic. Some people say it's okay. I am very curious. I think it's going to be a cool product. It's hard to beat at that price, $600 compared to what Axe-Fx has, you know, in that price point. It's a lot less money. Inkafish 23. Hey, Inkafish, did a super chat. Thank you, buddy. And it says, what's your current thoughts on the Squier Strat you upgraded with the Wiggins pickups? I want to do the same thing this year. Cheers. I love it. I still have it. It's in the other room with the Wiggins pickups. So yeah. In fact, was it a couple episodes ago? Somebody was asking me what Strats I have, and I mentioned that's one of the Strats I have. It's very, very cool guitar. Yeah. There's something about what's cool about Squiers, and same thing with Epiphones. They're not only price point friendly for entry level, but there's something cool about a guitar that feels close to the guitar you love. So let me talk about the Squier for a second. What I like about Squier is that sometimes when I'm playing a Squier, it feels so close. It feels to me to my American Strat. It feels very familiar in every way. And I'm saying kind of vague like that because I know there's going to be people out there like it's not like the American Strat. Some people, it is like the American Strat. I don't care about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that when I'm playing that Squier Strat, it's a Strat. It feels like a Strat, kind of sounds like a Strat. And I feel like I can do whatever I want with it. I don't have to feel, you know, apprehensive about it being damaged or stolen or anything like that. And I just like having the freedom of having a guitar that I can do whatever I want with. And it sounds good. So, yeah. All right. Next question that we got. Oh, yeah. Gamma Overlord said, just got my single cut today shirt. He got the shirt. Oh, shirt and a cup. Oh, cool, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's the single biggest thing you can do to fund the channel. And I appreciate it in every way. And thank you. Plus, you know, it's because it's multiple. Not only does it give me funds to do the channel and do everything I'm doing here, but it advertises for us too. So thank you. I appreciate it. Let me tell you, the greatest, probably one of the greatest moments was at the NAMM show this year when I bumped into somebody who had one of the shirts on. I know people have the shirts. They send the pictures of the shirts, and I really appreciate it. And I hear it all the time. I hear people say, oh, there was a person with one of your shirts, and I get it all the time. But it was the first time it actually was just, there's somebody wearing my shirt. I thought that was the coolest thing, man. It was, in fact, I was probably, when I was talking to him, I was probably a little hard because I was so like kind of starstruck by it. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense, you know, humbled by the wearing of it that I just didn't know what to do. So next time I'll be better prepared. Maybe I'll act a little cooler than I was. I think I was a little nerdy because I just didn't know what to say. Jonathan Evans says, holy pedals in the background. Yes, lots of pedals. You can never, yeah, they're a good way to decorate the wall. That's at least what I convinced my wife. I said, look, you could buy art. We could put art on the wall, or look, this is art and I can use it. See, all you guys are doing it wrong. You're putting the pedals on the floor, and therefore your significant others are like, why do you have all these pedals on the floor? See, I put them on the wall. That way they walk in and they go, oh, it looks cool. It's like really neat. It's wall art. See, if you hang your gear on the wall, it's now art. So, all right. Next question. Let's see if anyone else has got a better idea than that. You know what? Tweed Cadillac says, can I get a Squier instead of a Fender shirt? You can. They make Squier shirts. I think they do. They should. You know, Squier is the largest single brand of products, I think, of guitars sold in the world by volume. So, they outsell Fender, of course, by units, not by dollars. But so you would think they would probably do something to promote that brand. They make Squier everything else. I'd wear a Squier t-shirt. You know what? I think it would be cooler to wear the Squier t-shirt because everybody's wearing the Fender t-shirt, including me. Like I got a Fender mug right here, right? Maybe I need a Squier mug, right? Maybe that'd be cooler. So, okay, so nice guy Eddie's got an issue, so let's talk about his problem. He says, "Hey Phil, I bought a PRS SE. I don't know how to say that, but it's the bass. Okay, so he bought the PRS SE bass, and he needed a huge truss rod adjustment. Okay, right. So it has a lot of overbow. Okay, adjusted it pretty much bottomed out to get the next tray. Is that normal? I can tell you this. I just received my Warwick custom shop bass. It's over there. I don't know if you guys can see it in frame, and I needed to set it up. Right, it's fine. I mean, it came all the way from Germany. Right. But what was interesting was there was no tension on the truss rod at all. And I don't know if that was done on purpose, like they didn't want to do that when they shipped it, or if, you know, when they set it up, it didn't need any. So yeah, I think it's common. If it can happen, something like that. It was a quick adjustment. It was easy. Yeah, so of course it happens. I personally think everybody should be prepared to adjust an instrument, no matter what the price, no matter what it is, when it gets to you. I think that's a real common thing to have done. Cheddar Kung Pao to Super Chow. Thank you, Cheddar. Says, should I buy a guitar while I'm in Nashville next week? If so, what kind? You know, when I was in Nashville, I went to Carter's Vintage Guitars. I went to Groon's, right? And I went to Carter's, and I went to the Sam Ash. There was a nice Sam Ash there. The Guitar Center in Nashville is actually pretty decent, man. It was a good Guitar Center. And so, you know, I like you, felt like, man, I'm in Nashville. My first time in Nashville, I thought, if I'm in Nashville and I buy a guitar, that's a cool story. And then I found myself, and this is why I'm giving you warning, I found myself just compulsively just trying to find a guitar. So just to have a story of when I went to Nashville the first time I bought this guitar, and somehow it was going to be more mystical and better than any other guitar. But what I did do is I bought that Mythos pedal. That guy's there. So, you know, if you go to Carter's Vintage Guitars, Cheddar, the guy who makes Mythos, like the new Rob Chapman pedal and stuff, that guy's pedals are available for sale there. He's usually there. He was there when I was there. You know, it's like $179. It's a cool memento because it's actually made in Nashville versus, you know, just buying a guitar that's probably made somewhere else. You know what I mean? That you just happen to buy in Nashville. So, Cheddar, I would say if you find a cool guitar and you find something you have to have, you know, you should do what you want, but don't fall into the pit like I did of, I feel compulsive to do that. Just enjoy yourself in Nashville. It's a great town. It was one of my favorite places I've ever been to. I enjoyed every minute there, and I was sad to leave. So, and soak all that up. So that it's a great music town. There's musicians galore. Tom Mediger just did a super chat for $10, buddy. Thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you again. If you have a question, let me know. So, let's see. Trying to find. Okay, what is? Oh, okay. I don't even know how to say it. 776 says, Phil, what is the setup with those lights and pedals? Look, sweet man, thanks. Yeah, it's just a rope light. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's a rope and LED lights, and I just ran it behind the shelves. The shelves I get IKEA, and I've mentioned this before, and I'll put it in now that I'm talking about in the description of the video. The trick is, I keep telling you these shelves are great for pedals because they have a little lip and they have a little place for the pedal to there's like a cut into the shelf. And the reason is, my wife helped me get these, and some people ask me about these shelves, and you can't find them at IKEA, and here's why. They're not shelves. They're actually picture frame holders that are cut like shelves, and they come in like 3 feet and 1 feet. Anyway, so long story short, I'm put the link in the index later. They're at IKEA, but they're actually in the picture section, picture frames, not in shelving section, and they're great for pedals and stuff. And the reason I say great is one thing you have to think about when you're looking at behind me. There's amps, there's guitars, there are things that are valuable underneath those things. If some of those pedals are heavy, they fall and hit something, they can damage it. So those shelves are set so that the pedals can like kind of cut into this groove and be safe. So there you go. I'm Anonymous says, so is Gibson gonna go bankrupt? Just go here if I missed it. To oops. Okay. Yeah. 1,000 videos this week about that. A bunch of articles. I read a lot of them because I think I'm curious like you. We kind of touched on this on the live show before. I'll just recap that. Excuse me, cough. Yes. I mean, right. The issue is they have some bonds, 300 and something $1 million in bonds they owe in August. They have a loan. And here's the deal. Like I said before, Gibson isn't whether they go bankrupt or not. That's a finance issue. If you guys are concerned about that, if you're invested in Gibson, maybe with bonds, you're probably really concerned about it. If you're a creditor, you're probably concerned about it. If you're a guitar player, Gibson, the guitars, the thing that we care about, the guitars, keep this in mind. Look at Fenders. We care about Fenders. Well, not all the people who have owned Fender are the same people. CBS owned Fender, and now Fender owns Fender, and there's high times and low times. But the important part is Fenders have been available this entire time. I really honestly believe that no matter what the future of Gibson is, the guitars will still be available to us. So as far as we care about, they'll continue. What I really like to see happen is this. I really think a lot of the problems with Gibson and people critiquing their quality assurance issues and all their other issues, I think comes from desperation. They just haven't had the resources to fix these problems. And I think no matter what happens, whether it's bankruptcy or if they're able to secure the bonds with more loans, or they restructure or whatever they're able to pull off or not pull off, or they have to sell the company, whatever they do, I think the ultimate answer is, I think we're going to get a better Gibson out of the deal. Does that make sense? I really believe that. And so that's the good part. I don't think it's a really bad part for the guitar community. This is a finance problem. So people who are in finance are going to be the ones that are kind of probably suffer from it. So that's why I decided to buy Gibson guitars and not Gibson bonds. So there you go. And if you bought Gibson bonds and not guitars, maybe they'll trade them for guitars. If I own Gibson bonds right now, I'd maybe be like, hey, can I get some Les Pauls? There's a little bit of joke in there. I don't mean to disrespect anybody. Okay, Matthew's got a super chat. He wants to say, hey, Phil, what are your thoughts on the new on the Tom Anderson Angel, Guardian Angel? I'm curious how the neck is comparable to other 24 fret guitars, Ibanez, Jackson, etc. I have an Anderson Hollow T. I'm not familiar with that particular guitar and holding it and stuff, but so I'm not sure what about the neck is different than any other Tom Anderson neck. Tom Anderson necks, for the most part, for me, are pretty consistent. They're pretty small, very similar to an Ibanez kind of feel, and and a Sir kind of feel. Maybe the Jacksons too, right? That same kind of that high performance neck is what I call that, right? But I know, like you have the Hollow T, that's a slightly rounder neck, so I'm wondering if the Angel has got that thinner neck. So. Necks are the toughest thing, man. It's the only thing you can't really explain without touching them. That's why I think guitar companies with very familiar neck shapes do well online, and the guitars that we can't tell what their neck step feel like, we have to touch them first. So I know that doesn't help a whole lot, but something. James got a super chat. He says, if Gibson and Guitar Center go bankrupt, what does it mean for us musicians? Do you think guitars will still be in America? Yeah, it means nothing for, like I said before, it will mean nothing to us musicians. We'll still have product to get, and Made in America will continue as long as there's profit. That'll be Made in America. That has nothing to do with Gibson going bankrupt or Guitar Center. In fact, think of it this way: I could argue the opposite. Guitar Center probably has the least amount of American-made product in it, of any guitar store, right? If you were to go to most mom-and-pop guitars, well, maybe not the small ones, but you get the idea. They're definitely not the carrier of the high-end American Guitar Series stuff. So there'll always be American-made guitars, just like there'll always be made guitars in Germany, and there'll always be guitars made in, in Venezuela and, Canada, because wherever there's passion to build guitars, there'll be guitars. And as long as musicians continue to do what we've done, which is we conceptually believe value based on where guitars are built. We believe that guitars that are built in America are really good. Guitars that are made in Japan are really good, right? It's just how we believe. We believe guitars made in China are okay. We believe guitars made in Indonesia are okay, right? And over time, like Korea, we start gaining, acceptance of it. And that's the premium on American-made guitars. I hear it all the time. People are like, oh, American guitars are not the best guitars. You know what? Let's not even argue that. Let's just argue the issue, which is American guitars get a premium on the pricing, right? That's how it works. So as long as companies can get premium on the pricing, they can afford to make them here. If they can't, if companies are going to be expected to make a guitar made in America for the same price as a guitar made in China, it won't happen. That's what happened in the electronics industry. That's why you can't make an iPad tablet here in the US, because no one's going to pay a premium. No one's going to pay $1,500 to have a made in USA tablet. So as long as people will pay premium to have a guitar just because it's made in America, guitars will be made in America. And then, like I said, so that's what I think about that, those two companies and their bankruptcy issues. And they've been both in trouble for a long time, so it's nothing new. And they're the two big guys. And that's just going to happen. That's what happens when you take on a lot of debt and a lot of problems and the industry is not growing. So, and there's a lot of people talk about whether or not the industry is shrinking or dying. Regardless of whether you think they're shrinking or dying, it's not growing. So, not at the rate that they would need to that. Zello says, any plans to offer tall shirts? You know what? I'll check into that, man. I don't make the shirts, obviously. It's all consigned out to somebody, but I'll email them and see what they can do. So if you guys got issues like that, let me know. I'll make sure. They seem to be a pretty legit t-shirt company. They seem to be pretty okay with taking care of problems, so I'll get on that. James says, hey, are Gibson Studios worth the money? I have a 2011 Gibson Government that plays great. Wondering if the studio is still worth it. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say, yeah, here's why. I was at Guitar Center yesterday checking out guitars. I was out of town, and where I was, there was a Guitar Center. So I convinced my wife, she waited in the car. So she waited in the car. I went in the store, and I was actually checking out an amp. That's what I went there for, to check out an amp. And I was checking out some guitars. There was a black Les Paul Studio in there. They were asking $1,000, and I remember thinking, wow, $1,000 for a used one. So I'm going to say they're holding value pretty well. Because whatever you think about Guitar Center, usually their used prices are within line to some degree. You know, sometimes they're a little high, but most of the time they're either right on par or below. So, yeah, because I was thinking a black basic Les Paul Studio, I would think would be a $700 tops used guitar. So, yeah, I think the studios are going to go up in value. So, there you go. And I think nothing's going to affect that. In fact, I'm curious. You know, I'll tell you what I'm curious about. Since you guys got questions, I got a question too. Maybe you can answer. What do you guys think? I'm curious that all this talk about Gibson being in trouble financially, I wonder if it's driving up guitar sales, because I find myself compulsively looking at more Gibsons lately. Just like, maybe I should get a Gibson before it's too late. Anybody thinking like that? Is that just something I'm thinking? Like, I don't think they're going to go away, but I'm thinking maybe I should get one before the the who knows factor comes in. Who knows, right? Well, who takes over and what happens next? So, so I'm really curious to see if somebody. Curtis M did a super chat. Thanks, buddy. And he said, hey, Phil, I just received my Epiphone Anaconda Burst. Oh, the green one, man. That's awesome. And it's hand signed by Slash, number 82. Binding is grossly inconsistent. Marks on the back of the guitar, sharp edges, frets, yeah, etc. What would you do? Okay, so here's the deal. You've got to break that into some separate sections, okay? Marks on the back, like blims, that's an issue. That it sounds to me like if it's got blims, it's defective. Inconsistent binding, like in probably what you're talking about, the coloring or how it is. Again, that's a factory second, okay? The fret edge, the frets being sharp on the edges, that's the neck shrank and the frets stick out. That is very common in guitars. It doesn't matter. There's no guitar that can escape that 100%. Okay. So although it's not usually acceptable for higher-end guitars to have that problem, or, right, it should be addressed. Now, here's what I think you should do. I think you should contact the retailer you bought it from and see if they can replace it. But I understand your problem is you got number 82 and it's signed and it might be an exclusive kind of deal. If you love the guitar and you cannot get it replaced, then what you need to do is document with all that. What's great about that? Document everything you say with photos, send it to the retailer and let them know that they need to adjust the price to compensate you for the deficiencies. That's a defective guitar. That's what they should do. And then let me know, in the notes later, in this video, if they were able to accommodate you, if that was something you would even, or if you're even interested in doing that. But that's what I would do. If I had a limited edition guitar and it had some, issues, I would want to be compensated on that. So, and they should have to discount it. It's basically a B stock item. Andrew says, do you know why any tube combo amps that have good sounding direct out, do I know of any? Okay. Is it possible to get a good tone without using a speaker? Yes. Although I'll tell you right now, direct out on a combo amp, I wouldn't even worry about that. The direct out on the Hughes and Kittner combo amps is good. The direct out on, what else is pretty good? The Friedman Runt 20 direct out is really good. There's a bunch of amps out there with direct outs, but I will tell you right now, I like my Mini Rock Wreck by Rivera. Excuse me again. And it's fantastic. And you can just run out anything into that, and then you can write direct recording with that. And it's got IRs built in it. You know, they're analog, but speaker emulations. In the world this is going to work now, having it built in the amp is a cool feature, but you can get it external for pennies on the dollar buying an amp that would be because most of the amps that have those direct features are priced as such. You know, another good amp is the Peavey stuff, man. The Peavey Classic 20, the Peavey 5150, those also have great direct outs too. There's a lot of amps out there with direct outs. So yeah, they're out there. The Black Star stuff actually doesn't have that bad of a direct out. They spent a lot of time getting that direct out. I think pretty good. Another amp to look at as well. So Shut Up, Let's Talk says, is fantastic a popular word in Arizona? I noticed that your friends use it all the time. I have friends? I don't know. I'm probably using it because I'm trying to be excited because I got a storm coming in, I think, and it's windy and kind of getting dark outside. But yeah, maybe fantastic. I don't know. I think I use the word amazing a lot. That's the word I think I use a lot. And you know what that probably comes from? A lot of that time comes from my kids. I'm always trying to, I think when you're a parent, you're always trying to falsely excite the children. You're trying to let them know it's going to be great. We're going to go to the bookstore. It's amazing. We're going to go to the bank. It's going to be exciting, right? You got to kind of con the kids into the idea. So I probably use words like that because I'm used to getting my kids to try to do something. Hey, we should go to the movies and see this movie you don't want to watch because it'll be exciting and fantastic. Let's see. Let's see. Benjamin says, what would make the THR 10 worth $300? Well, they get to charge that, right? Because it's what it is. They make a THR 5 though. It's $200. So they have a more priced affordable one. So everything, I checked them out. When I checked them out, there was definitely quality there. I mean, you can feel it. You know what I mean? You can feel it in here that there's, everything felt the way I like the aluminum casing or the metal casing. Just feels good, right? Feels like it's going to last you a while. I think that's, to me, personally, I think a lot of stuff is as easy as you can touch it. You know, when I touch a pedal and I'm like, you can feel when you're moving the components around, or if you're touching an amp, you know, and you start turning knobs. Same with guitars, you hit the switches and stuff. You can kind of tell. Cars are like that. You get in cars and you're like touching the dashboard or the door, and you're like, this isn't gonna last. Especially if you've been around and and you've kind of seen how stuff fails. So, all right. Next question. Okay. Okay, tigerbait.com. Haven't talked to you in a while, Tiger. What's up, buddy? Says, Philip, does it seem like Gretsch is gaining more market share? Their sub-$1,000 guitars seem to be gaining in popularity, and I never hear any quality assurance problems. I think right now, I agree with you. But I have a theory behind that because, like I said, I was just at a Guitar Center yesterday, and I'm using Guitar Centers because obviously in the United States they're one of the biggest retailers in the country. It's definitely it's always been a heavy Fender world. There's always been lots of Fender and Squier. They're the predominant guitar force in the universe of guitars, right, of sales. And because they're the distributor of Gretsch and Jackson, I find that everywhere I see Fender, I'm seeing Gretsch and Jackson now, and so yes, I agree with you. I feel like I never saw as much Gretsch as I do in the last couple of years. Everywhere I go, it seems like there's Gretsch. So I just think that's great. Joe Carducci runs Gretsch. I think that's just the great marketing power of Gretsch. I think that's it's showing the companies doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting their product out there, and they make good stuff. I own 3 Gretches. Like I said, I own the Indonesian one, the Korean one, and the Japanese one. I love all 3. I've been saying this for months. I've been trying to consolidate down, and they are all of great quality. I can't figure it out. They seem to nail it in all categories. Christian just did a super chat, and he's got a question. Says, hey, Phil, had my Made in Mexico Strat bridge pickup replaced with a stacked single coil size. Okay, pickup now. But the tone knob does not change the tone when the bridge pickup is selected. Is that supposed to happen? So my $1 million question to you is, was it doing that before, and are you sure of that? Because sometimes what happens is you change a pickup and then you didn't realize that. On a Strat, the two tone knobs, right? So you got 3 knobs right here. You got your volume, you got your tone, your other tone. And a lot of Strats, the middle tone knob will control the neck pickup, and the bottom tone knob will control the middle pickup. And there's no tone control on the bridge. That is a very standard Strat original wiring. On newer Strats, they will set it up to where the tone knob on the bottom, this one, will control the bridge, and the next tone control will control both the middle and the neck. So the answer to your question is there could be a ton of reasons why this is happening. If you had that pickup installer, if you install it yourself, you could have disconnected it so it's not connected. Here's what you want to do tonight. Put your pickup position in the neck position and turn the middle tone knob and see if that works. And then put your pickup selector in the middle, which is going to be the middle position, right? And see if the back tone knob works. And if they're working, that's how they're wired up. But in those positions, if you're still not getting the back tone knob, it's because it's not connected to anything. And that's probably the problem. So they need to be connected to something. The Strat wiring schematic, I've said this for years, is the easiest wiring schematic there is ever going to be. So it's an easy thing to Google. You just Google just Google Strat wiring schematic. It'll come up. It's very straightforward. There's thousands of pictures on the internet. And you can look, and all those options I said, you'll be able to wire up yourself. So if you had it done and you took it somewhere, well, then you want to take it back to them and let them know. But also be prepared to ask them to tell the tech how you want it wired. Like I said, you have choices. And you can Google that and watch some cool stuff on all the different ways to wire up that tone control. So I hope that'll help you out a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go to the next question here. Ooh, Bruce Garris got a question. It says, hey, man, this is a great one for us community at large. I love these big community questions. Signature guitars, are they becoming less meaningful to consumers? So that's a great question. I don't even have to guess. You put in the comments either right now or down below after the video repost. Let me know. Are you sick of signature guitars? Actually, not sick of. He said becoming less meaningful. I think so. I can tell you this in my opinion. The last few artist guitars I bought, I didn't buy them, excuse me, because of the artist. I just got the Phil X guitar. I love Phil X, right? He was a nice guy. I met him at GitCon. He was great. I talked to him again at NAMM. He's like just, he's got a personality like $1 million. Bought the guitar because I liked the guitar, because it's a cool SG kind of vibe, and it was unique, and it was cool. The St. Vincent guitar, I like St. Vincent. She's great. I like her songs. I bought the guitar because it's a cool looking guitar. So I find myself less and less being interested in the actual artist that creates the guitar and just the guitar itself. And that's why I'm not interested in guitars that are like the new, like if if Fender comes out with another Strat, just has an artist on it. I don't really care. So I want something different. Jason says he's got a question. Jason says, have you played any of the Friedman guitars? Also, how do you feel about the factory distressed? I'm going to say distressed. Okay. I have played a couple of Friedman guitars. I played some at the summer NAMM show. And I think I've talked about this before. They're made by Grover Jackson, so they're great. I think that I'm not into the relic guitars. It's not my thing. I don't have a thing against relic guitars. In other words, like if a guitar was relic and I liked it, I would buy it. I like the way relic guitars look. I just don't need, I don't impulsively feel the need to have a relic guitar. So the point to all that is, I think the relicing looks great. It's not something that makes me buy the guitar. In fact, I would probably be more interested in one that's not relic, but I don't see an option there for that. I think it's because I don't want to pay more for relicing. Sometimes they always want to charge us more for relicing, and that's because it's a process and it takes time. So to me, on the Friedman guitars, if he offered one with like 100, maybe $150 less, but it wasn't relic, I'd take that. So, but the guitars are fantastic. I want the Telly style they do. Their Charvel style guitars are great, but again, I'd want one without a Floyd Rose. Love Floyd's. I just don't want another Floyd guitar right now. Okay. Oh, E. Roman's got a great question. He says, what do you think of that new Eric Johnson Strat, the semi-hollow? Love it. Love it, right? Wasn't crazy as, I mean, it's expensive, but not as crazy expensive I thought it was going to be. Everything about it is cool. I thought they should have done that years ago. A hollow body Strat. A lot of companies make a hollow body Strat style guitar, and it's fantastic. So, plus, talk about something that's that for Fender and Gibson. One thing in common with them is they really don't need to innovate anything, right? We don't need a new, we don't need a super Les Paul or super Strat, something different. We want them to do what they do well. This guitar is something that they already do well, but in a different way. Kind of like my hollow body or semi-hollow body PRS Custom 24, right? It's something you do well, just with an option that it's nice, where it doesn't really change the guitar too much, just adds a different feature. This is from Brian. Thanks, Brian. He did a super chat, and the question is, hey Phil, have you tried any of the noise kick FX pedals? I haven't before. Also, easy to use, inexpensive looper. Boss RC1, best bet. So looper wise, I have a bunch. I have the Rowan one, which is you can find on Amazon for $60. It's pretty decent for $60. I really like the TC Electronics Ditto a lot. I have that one as well because it's true bypass. That's a feature it has that I think is cool. The RC1 I have, and I love that as well. So here's what I'm going to tell you. My two favorite loopers, although I have the more one, I have a bunch of them. I really like them all. But the two favorite I have is the RC1 and the Ditto looper, the Ditto, the Mini. And here's why. Sometimes I want a looper on with no load. It's like it's true bypass. It's not going to do anything to my signal. It doesn't digitize anything. Bam, there's my TC. The RC1, what I love is I love the LED that tells you where the one is going to start. And it's a really cool feature. It just makes it really cool to do that. Plus, it's Boss, so it's built really well. I cannot say enough good things about the Boss RC1 pedal. So there you go. Justin, maybe. Hey, Justin, what's up, buddy? Oh, and I was gonna say thank you for your service. I was when we're working on your custom shirt, and we were talking about the Air Force logo and stuff. So I want to thank you for your service. Hey, Phil, this is his question. It says, just got an 11 rack today. Okay, cool. I was wondering if you had any experience with it. What's your thoughts on rack mounted gear? I don't like rack mounted gear because I don't have any rack mount stuff. But the 11 rack, I probably picked it up for the 350, the good deal. Excuse me again. Dude, the 11 rack is fantastic. And the deal that they have on them is great. And I thought about getting one, and I don't know where you got it, but I was looking at them at Sweetwater when they were 350, and they went out of stock, and then I just didn't get one in time. I've played through 11 rack. My buddy Frank has one in his studio. It's fantastic. The 11 rack is actually what caused the problem for me with Axe Effects. When everybody was like, get Axe Effects, Axe Effects, Axe Effects. I think the Axe Effects, in my opinion, is better than the 11 rack, but it's a huge price difference between those two units, especially now. You cannot beat the 11 rack for 350. So yeah, good stuff. And it's no big deal. You just set it somewhere. So I just don't have any rack gear. Yeah. See, Justin said he got it from Sweetwater for 350. Dude, you can't beat that. 350 for that. So it's an interface for your computer. It's got tons of effects. It looks cool. It's built well. You know what I mean? Okay. V-Man says he got his 11 rack from Sweetwater for $315. Justin, I think you have to call your, what do they call him, the Sweetwater engineer, the sales engineer? I think you'll let that guy know. You know what? I was on the Know Your Gear channel, and somebody told me they paid $315. You let him have it, Justin. You let him have it. $315. Thanks, V-Man. By the way, there's 880 of you guys hanging out, so that's awesome. We'll keep going with this. I didn't get the 11 rack. You know what I bought this week? What's this? If you saw me on Instagram, I bought this. This is what I bought. Actually, this is what I bought at Sweetwater. I got this, and I got this because I wanted this compressor, and I did this. What? Look at that. This I need to work with because I'm not getting this right away, I guess. I'm plugging into it, and it's sounding okay. This is great. This is okay. I'm liking it. I think I'm doing something wrong. It's really saturated. So I think I got to mess with the knobs. And so, I put about 20 minutes into this. I haven't put enough time into it yet, but I do like it. But I was really impressed with this. And of course, the compressor I already knew I liked. So maybe I should have got 11 rack instead of that stuff. So Tony did a super chat for $5. Thanks, Tony, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Tony says, I just got a massive Sweetwater Pro catalog. Me too. It's like a phone book. It's like the old Sears catalog. The people that run my P.O. box, when I got there, they go, this cane was too big to fit in the P.O. box. And they hand me my Sweetwater catalog and they said, what do you want to do with it? And I go, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty thick. And they go, yeah, we usually get U-line catalogs like this. So kind of made me laugh. Okay, so Tony said, I just got the massive Sweetwater Pro catalog and love the Fender Mustang series. I only see the GT series. Has Fender abandoned the original Mustang series? I'd be crushed since I invested quite a bit. Yes, the original Mustang series is gone, and the GT series Mustang is the replacement for that. So yes, but I don't know if the software isn't interchangeable. I'm not too familiar with that. I think they're somewhat interchangeable. I'm not sure, but yes, they went to the newer GT series. Julian Patrick, Bronto Glenn. Is that 4 names? Is that 3 names? 2 names? Julian Patrick. I think I'm saying it. Julian Patrick. I hate it when I mess up names, but I'm going to say Julian Patrick. Says, what happened to the J Mascus and where is the Godin? Get one. They are brilliant. All right, fine. Because you said it, I will get one. I will get. Here's my Godin A6. So yes, I got one. I have it right here. So I did get one. If you guys remember, I bought a Godin A6 from Sweetwater. I bought one of the Blim ones and it was defective and I didn't like it, so I sent it back. So I finally waited and saved up my pennies and got this. However, there's a couple things about it that's interesting. Let me sit this down. They changed the fretboard. So it's a Rich Light fretboard on the new one. And I think I like it. I was just in shock because I didn't notice. When I ordered it, I didn't notice that Godin had went from rosewood fretboard to the Rich Light. And if you're not sure what the Rich Light is, it's like a black plastic that's going to sound like ebony. So there you go. And the J Mascus is downstairs. So the truth is, I have the J Mascus. It needs a setup really bad. Been too busy to get to it. So that's why I thought if I moved it upstairs and I played it, I would mess with it. And then I brought it downstairs so I can adjust it. So sometimes the stuff I do just takes up too much time. I'm gonna say Raz 101. It could be Razy 101. I bought a set of Seymour Duncan pickups for my 2015 Les Paul Classic, but someone told me I needed F-Space pickups. I've never heard of that, and what's the difference? So good news, you do not need F-Space pickups. That is, do not at all. And let me tell you what F-Space pickups are. So in Seymour Duncan, they call it trimbucker. That would be the term. So, for instance, if you get a JB, a Seymour Duncan JB, right, JB, they have a T version of it, and the T is for trimbucker. DiMarzio uses the term F-spaced. I think Fender does too. What does that mean? It means it's spaced for a, I think F-spaced implies it's spaced for a Floyd Rose. But more importantly, like the trimbuckers, style, they're spaced for a tremolo system. A tremolo system is a wider spacing than a hardtail. So you don't actually need, but it's a good idea to use a tremolo spaced pickup with a tremolo versus a hardtail bridge. So you don't need them because you don't have a tremolo in your Les Paul Classic. So good news for you, you have the right pickups. And the other good news is even if you did or didn't, in other words, if you had the wrong pickups, the spacing I found has been very minimal. In fact, what I tell people all the time is there's a ton of pickups out there that don't come F-space or tremolo space, and people put them in Strats all the time and they work fine. So again, if you have the option maybe to get the right thing, you should do it. But I don't find it makes a difference enough to where it's going to hurt anything. But in your case, you don't have to worry about it at all. You have the correct pickups. But that's what that means, F-space. So the in fact, Sir guitars, like on the on the Sir guitars, on the Thornbuckers, they just say spacing. I think they say 50 millimeter or 53 millimeter. So a different way to say it. That's what they're trying to say too. Again, there's just slightly wider spacing. Okay. Netzier442 says, cheers, Phil. Great show as usual. Well, thank you for just telling me that. But I appreciate it. Zombie Woof. Zombie Wolf says, I also have the Seagull S6. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of anything Godin, which is Siegel, Norman, Arts and Luthery, Simon Patrick. Great stuff, right? Made in Canada, great stuff. I mean, that guitar is great. That's why I've been wanting one. It's been on the radar for a while. It's good stuff. My buddy Larry Mitchell has a Godin A6. That's what started all this. I had an A6. I got rid of it. I saw Larry Mitchell with his. I thought, I need to do it. Dale Weber says, "What's your shirt?" Oh, Universum Guitars, man. Universum Guitars was the when I was at GitCon. They're the Ukraine company that makes guitars. And when I was at the NAMM show, they gave me a bunch of shirts. So that was really nice. And when I stopped by their booth, they're very nice guys. So when I was in Germany, they gave me vodka. When I was in the US, they gave me shirts. Great guys. So okay. Thoughts on attenuators? Oh, great question, Jesse. This is from Jesse. Attenuators. My problem, and I heard Pete Thorne kind of mention this too, and a couple other people that I respect what they think. Attenuators for me are such a necessary thing, but they tend to make things sound a way that I don't love. And that's my problem. And you know what? I keep being told there's this magic attenuator. So the Rivera Rock Crusher, which is a good one. Dr. Z makes a good one. I tried the Fender Marshall Power Break. I tried a bunch, and they're all good, but I never loved any of them. So that's my thought on attenuators. If you need one, you need one. There's no way around it. I finally gave up. That's why I'm using the Rivera Mini Rock Wreck. The logic now is I'm done trying to attenuate the amp down. If I can't play the amp at the level that it needs to be, I either have the wrong amp, or B, I'm just going to put a load on it like that and run it into some speakers or something else, or into a recording interface and just record with it and use my headphones and stuff. That's why I do that. But also another attenuator that's really good is the Jetonator by Jet City, which is Soldano. That one's affordable. Like I said, that's my thought on attenuators. If you need one, you need one. They're all fine. I've never found one I loved. So the Rock Crusher is probably one of my favorite ones. Still don't love it. Kenneth Kirsch said, "Hey, looking at used 2004 PRS McCarty or a PRS S2. Want something that feels like a top-end guitar at a reasonable price. I've tried the SE series and returned, sold them because I wasn't impressed. Thoughts?" Well, here's what I'm going to say, man. If you don't like the PRS SE, I would skip the S2 and go to a used PRS McCarty. And the reason is because I like the S2s, although I would not, and I have an S2, I have an SE, I have a core. So I have all, I'm versed in all three because I have them all. And I will tell you this, I feel like the core guitars, the fit and finish, I feel it. They're slightly, more elegant and better than the S2s and the SEs. The S2s do not feel dramatically different from SEs. The difference is in their specs. Like the S2 has a thicker neck, which is what the McCarty is going to have. And the S2 or the SEs, unless you get the single cut, which has a thicker neck, if you get the custom 24, it has a smaller neck. The point is the neck thickness is different, but not the quality. I think SE and S2 feel very reminiscent of each other in quality. I like them both for a lot of reasons, but I don't pick one up. I don't pick the S2 up and go, man, why can't the SEs feel like this? They feel very reminiscent. So if you're having an issue where you're not loving the SEs, I would go with the McCarty used. One, I think it's a good model. Two, it's definitely an upgrade, and maybe that's what you're looking for. And three, if you buy it used and you get the right price, if you go down the road and just finally figure out that maybe just PRS is not for you, it's easy to unload and get your money back, which is always a nice thing. Okay. Judd Lofthouse says he got a Marshall DSL1, got one last week and love it. I got one, Judd, this week. I got the DSL1 head, and so I'm checking it out right now. It's really good. I like that they added the reverb. That's a really cool feature. They took a feature out. I had the JCM 2001 watt limited edition head that was like $700, and I sold that. And so when they reissued this at $300, I thought this is gonna be great. Because it's significantly less than that expensive version, and it has reverb. But without paying attention, they changed something on the new DSL that I'm not in love with, and I'm learning to get around, which is the clean channel doesn't have a gain control like the original JCM 1 watt does. And that sounds like a, maybe not like a big deal because you want clean to be clean, but the gain on a clean sometimes is a good thing on those kind of amps because you can use it to fatten up the clean sound and let the pedals sound a little bigger through it. I thought the clean sounded a little thin. However, that is all preliminary. I have literally only opened it out of the box and played it through my little 112 cabinet in the other room. I've not plugged it into any 212s or messed with anything. I really need to spend some time with it. My first impressions are I like it, and definitely for $299, even if I think it's not as good as the original JCM 1, which my first impression is it's not as good, it is less than half the price. And I can tell you right now, the other amp is not twice as good. So there you go. Yeah, and it's fun. The DSL1 is fun. It's a way to own a Marshall. It's not super loud. It's fun. I was playing mine last night in the bedroom while my wife was going to go to bed, and she didn't even ask me to stop playing. So that's how loud it was. So she didn't say anything to me. So there you go. Jim says, have you ever tried Wiggins pickup humbuckers? Oh, absolutely. I have. In fact, I put them in if you look at the video, the Rob Scallion, the Sharp My Axe, Rob Scallon, sorry, not Scallion, not Onion, as Rob told me when he met me. He's like, I'm not Onion. So Rob Scallon, I put Wiggins humbuckers in his guitar so you can actually hear them in that guitar if you're curious about them. They're very good pickups. So, if I get Wiggins humbuckers, it's going to be to put in my Framus. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I like the Framus guitar. I love it. I play it all the time. It's got Seymour Duncans in it. I like them, but I really think the Wiggins would be better in the Framus. That's what I'm thinking of. So, again, I got to figure out how to make more of my projects videos because when I'm making videos, I'm not doing projects and vice versa. Steve 1224444. Nice on it, man. He says, hey, Phil, who is your favorite all-time guitarist? My favorite guitarist is Monty Montgomery. I will say that every time you guys ask. He is my favorite guitar player. And if you don't know who Monty Montgomery is, please check him out. Just amazing. So there's only one Monty Montgomery. Guitar Express says, hey, Phil, which guitar blew your hair off? I don't know. Sadly enough, I'd have to go with the amp I had when I had hair, and that would be a Crate Stealth. So maybe that's what did it. Do you guys remember the Crate Stealth? I bought a Crate Stealth because I wanted probably more than any kid ever wanted a Red Ryder BB gun or whatever. Remember that movie? Okay. I wanted the Ampeg Lee Jackson amp with the key, right? And I wanted it because at that time I was playing in a band in a jam place, and I hated people who mess with my amp controls. And when I saw the ad that you could lock your amp controls, I hope you guys remember what I'm talking about. Like I said, the Lee Jackson Ampeg head, I thought that was the greatest thing. So I went to go get one, and they were so expensive. And then I got talked into what I could afford, which at the time was the Crate Stealth. And I believe that was designed or co-opted by Lee Jackson as well. At that time, Ampeg and Crate were both owned by St. Louis Music, and it was involved. So I had a Crate Stealth, 100-watt head. And so there. So I'm going to say that's what it is. Ooh, Tutu Strymon. I'm going to say Strymon with an I instead of a Y. Phil, what are your 5 desert island pedals? I understand, so we won't go with the jokes about electricity. What pedals? So what my 5? How about my 5 top pedals? I've done this before. I really like the Zen Drive. I really like the Ibanez Tube Screamer. I really like the Boss 63 reverb. However, they have gotten obnoxious in price. I originally was interviewed by another YouTuber, and I put a video on the channel where I said this. At that time, they were making them, but obviously they're not making them anymore, and they're $200 to $400 now. I love it. I don't know if I love it $200 to $400. I can tell you right now, but I do like that pedal a lot. I love the Lawrence Petros 68. I really like that pedal. And secretly, I hate to say it, there's a pedal now that I'm in love with, but I can't tell anybody what it is. I mean, it's a prototype pedal. So I know that's kind of dumb, but I feel like I'd be wrong if I told you a pedal when that's the pedal I'm playing like crazy. And it's a prototype pedal. It'll be out soon. It's just a pedal, that I was given in its prototype stage to see what I thought. Not that they would probably take anything I say into consideration in this particular situation. They wanted me to have first ear on it. So, Okay, we got a super chat, and says, "What is the deal with Victory amps? Question mark. What was so problematic with dealing with them?" Well, Victory amps, and I always say this, and you probably crucify me for this because people just don't like it when YouTubers, I guess, like other YouTubers. The Rob Chapman Victory amp, the Red Dwarf, that is one of my favorite amps. In fact, I got the RD1, then I sold the RD1 for the BD one because I was like, oh, I'll just keep the black one. Excuse me again. Excuse me. And I sold that one, and I regret it. It's an amp I really think about getting again because I really like it. However, that is so I like that Victory amp, and I like the Sheriff. So those are the amps I liked. So what's the deal with Victory amps? What was the problematic dealing with them? The problem I had when I dealt with them was we had some defective product, and they didn't really seem to know how to handle it in a way that we felt that a manufacturer should handle it. And I'm sure a lot of that had to be they were a small company. We're used to dealing with small companies and the stuff they deal with. However, the big issue for me with Victory is this. When we had problems with them, their suggestions, their way of dealing with it, we explained to them that where we live in the state of Arizona, it's illegal to do that. So what happened was they sent us defective product. Their resolution was to have it fixed. We explained that if we have it fixed, it has to be sold as B stock or second. It can't be sold as a new product. And they didn't seem to understand that. And that was the problem. We want to explain to them that, and we don't sell stuff that is refurbished. You know what I mean? Unless it's sold as a refurbished product disclosed. So that was very frustrating. So at that point, we discontinued our relationship with them, but not in any negative way. Like we didn't leave on any bad terms. We never said anything negative to each other. We decided that it wasn't congruent. It wasn't working between the two of us because they weren't set up in a way to accommodate us as a customer, us being the dealer. So that's it. Maybe they're better now. I don't know. Like I said, Victory, the amps, though, I mean, they had deficiencies and the problems, but that happens. The sound of the amps, though, were fantastic. I like I said, I like them very much. So Rob Oliver asked me this question. So many people asked it last week, too, so I'll just answer it. I just don't have an answer. Did you see the Milkman pedal amp at NAMM? I didn't. But I'll say it this time so I can look it up. So, here's a good question. Bluesman 2050 said, "What happened to the Premier Guitar Builders Guild?" He's saying Premier Builders Guild, right? All the brands they own change owners. Yes, it was disbanded. So Fano sold off. There's a new company that owns Fano, and they are a new company that's got breathing new life into it. This is where there's one of the things like. Since there's 900 of you on here, maybe I'll clarify. So there was this thing called the Premier Guilders Build, and it was a bunch of builders, boutique people that came together, and they kind of like pooled the resources, especially on the NAMM show. They can buy a booth together and be together. But there was all these other things we were doing to help each other. And there was amps in that thing too, right? I think the Tone King amps were in there. There was all kinds of things in there. And 2 Rock was one of them, right? Fano was one of them. And what this was I thought a great idea. It's this idea that smaller companies should pool resources together because that's what big companies have on them. Advertising budgets, they have distribution resources. So if you pool your smaller guy resources together, what I don't know, and maybe somebody knows out there, is what caused it to disband. But they were together, and then like Bluesman 2050 pointed out, then they were like Avi, who owns Boutique Amps Distribution, who builds, he builds the Friedman amps and the Wampler pedals and all that stuff. He took over Tone King, so he owns Tone King. 2 Rock, I believe, is still 2 Rock, same ownership. Fano, of course, was sold off to the new owners of Fano, which now are Ghost Building Stramberg. So again, things change, but that's what happened. I personally, on a side note, still think all of that stuff that's happened is good because what I love is it when companies come up with an idea other than just ship it to China to be made, right? That's what I think is cool. Anytime a company can say, why don't we, like the Boutique Amp Builders Guild, which is in California, which builds, like I said, like 7 different brands. It's that or move the stuff to China. So if you're giving me that option, being that I live in the United States and I want my economy to stay as strong as it possibly can, I'll just do that. You know what I mean? So, okay. Oh, Timothy. Okay. So I'm just going to say this because it was a question. It says Timothy Hawkins said Lee Anderson did not give Milkman amps a good review on his blindfold 5-amp test. I'll have to check it out. Like I said, I know nothing about them, so I'll check it out. So my experience with the Andertons guys is Lee, especially Lee. He's very fair. So like I said, I don't always agree with everything he thinks, and I'm sure he would not agree with everything I think, but not because I don't think he knows and he's got a flaw in his logic. I think he's spot on. We just don't always have the same likes in every category. But so, okay. Let's try to knock out one or two more before we cut it loose today. Jonathan Evans says, hey, do you own any Schecter guitars? Are you a fan? I do, and I am, and I'll try to turn it. There it is. There's my Schecter right there. So yeah, I own a Schecter guitar. I think I just own one now, but I've owned a couple. I like them. They're some of my favorite guitars. So there you go. I'm a fan and I own them. Okay, let's do this. Damon wants to know what's a strong, sturdy amp stand to purchase. I use a couple amp stands. That's what these amps are on. The ones I'm currently using now are made by Fender. I usually use on stage. I have those downstairs. My thing with stands, I think I've said this before. I'll just hit you guys again. Guitar stands, amp stands, I don't care what it is. My only recommendation is to use brand names. So if it's on stage, if it's Ultimate, Fender, which doesn't make their stands, but they'll put their brand on them, on the actual product, not just on the box. And the reason being is this: I'm going to put my amp on something. I want to be able to, if it breaks, be able to point when I take a picture with my phone and send it to the company, the picture of their logo on the defective product, and say, this is your product. You know, I don't want to hear a company go, oh no, we didn't make that. We just have that, somebody else build that for us and say, no, you know what I mean? To me, it's like, so yeah, that's what I trust. On stage is great too, but I'm pretty sure that's who builds the Fender stuff. But yes, I like any company that puts their name on their products, on the, like guitar cables too, same thing. If they put their name on the cables, that's probably the best way to back the product. So, speaking of which, Jose Technologies here. It says, hey, Phil, check out the balaguer. I should know how to say this since I was with Joe. Joe Balaguer. I'm going to say that's how you say it, Joe. Astro guitar, one of the best new classic single cut designs around. Good guys to boot. Yeah, thank you, Jose. So I did the official How Do You Say video with Joe, and Joe was nice enough to do it. Joe has sent me a message since the NAMM show saying that he would like to send me a guitar to review, and I have not responded to him. So I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna respond to him because I'm obviously very excited about checking out one of his guitars. But you know what it is? I'm really interested in checking out a couple of guitars, and I want to review Fluff's guitar because I'm curious. So, okay. So there's a question, and I missed who it's from, but I saw the pedal. It said, "Are the new Fano owners any good?" And what I can tell you is this: the new people who own Fano guitars are building them here where I live. And they came up to me at the NAMM show. I don't mean came up to me at their booth. I was just randomly walking down an aisle, and they came up to me and told me, hey, we know from watching your videos, you actually live in town with us. I'm like 40 minutes, maybe 50 minutes away from them. And they said, we'd like you to come down to our shop and, maybe if you're interested in doing some videos. So I plan to go down there and do that. They were open to the idea. So, and that it's like I said, I love this analogy. Any restaurant that want to let you in the kitchen, right? That's the best thing you could ever hope for. You get to see how things are done. If they're willing to let me in their shop and see things and maybe show you guys. Yeah. So I'm excited. So I'm gonna say, yeah, good ownership, because that takes a lot. Believe it or not, a lot of companies don't want to do that, especially when the way I talk to them candidly, I'm like, hey, And I asked him point blank. I had a couple questions, which I won't reveal here. I said, would you be okay if I did this? Would you be okay if I did this? Would you be okay if I videoed that and showed that? And I didn't say anything like, if you don't, I'm not gonna, or, you know, I just asked and they said yes to all. And that told me a lot because, like I said, the more a company will let you see their stuff. Not that I think companies should have to by any means. I'm just saying if they're willing to, that's always a good sign. Ivan Doles, I'm not even going to try it. Espayo? I'm going to say Espayo. Did a super chat. It says, what 112 cabinet would you recommend? You know, one of my favorite 112 cabinets, I'm going to tell you the three I like, and there's just the three I like. I like the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe 112 cabinet. I think it's a good cabinet, especially used, but those are good cabinets. I like the Agnator 112 cabinets that are ported. I'm actually thinking about getting one of those again. I have the Mesa Boogie Lone Star 19-inch cabinet 112, which I like, but I think I'm actually going to switch back to the Agnator cabinet. I liked it a lot. Both those cabinets are closed backed. And then for open back 112 cabinets, and within reason, I mean, there's some really great ones that are just crazy expensive. I heard great stuff about Harley Benton cabinets. I have not tried them. And I'm trying to, so like I said, Agnator, the Fender one, what's another good 112 cabinet that I like? That's reasonable. I'm trying to stay out of the crazy money space. You know what? I'm just going to say the Mesa Boogie Lone Star because I really like that cabinet. And that's in the $300 range, $380 or whatever. So, you know, 112 cabinets to me, once they hit $600, $700, it just gets a little too crazy for me. So that's a lot of, you know. In fact, I can tell you a funny story. Last time I was trying to buy a cabinet, I was looking at cabinets. I was looking at 112 cabinets, and I was looking at the Friedman 112, which is a great cabinet. It was $599, and I went to buy it. And at the last minute, that's when I bought this Marshall 412 1960 behind me used for $400 in mint condition. It was like brand new. Because I was just sitting there going, why am I going to spend $600 for a 112? I can buy a 412 for $400. So I did that. So although I can understand if I was taking to a gig, how a 112 would be a lot easier than this 412 to take around. But here in my office playing, the 412 sounds great. So I used to just buy what 112s I think I liked. Now I just buy 112s that I think are good deals and for the money. Just because I'm, like I said, the prices have just gotten too crazy. My joke is you can buy a leather couch now for some of the prices of these 212 cabinets. So a perfect example, I bought my PRS 212 cabinet behind me. It's a great cabinet. It's pine. It's got stuff, but it was $1,000, right? It was crazy, right? I wanted it because it matches the head. I got it. It's great sounding. I don't regret it, but I don't know if you can, I don't know how I justify in my head a wood box with vinyl, 2 speakers, $1,000. I don't know how I did it. So, but now that I've done it, I don't think I can do it again. Ranrek says, hey, Phil, have a Katana amp. Do you know where I can find more info on how to dial in sounds? Also, what is your favorite octave pedal? Okay, my favorite octave pedal is the Pog by Electro Harmonics. I really like the Pog. My second favorite octave pedal is the Sub and Up by TC. And I plan to do a shootout with those two. The TC guys actually gave me a Sub and Up. They sent it to me right after GitCon and to do a review. And I want to make sure that I do a comparison with the Pog because there's things I like about each one that are really unique. But those are my two favorite. Those two, for sure. And then on the Katana amp, do you know where you can find information on how to dial in good sounds? And I don't know. You know what I'll do? I'll peruse some YouTube videos. If I don't find anything cool to suggest in this link, maybe I'll have to make one. Maybe I can help you out. So a lot of cool amp sounds in that amp. That's for sure. Ivan Doles again. Try again with the name. Yeah, try again. I'm sorry, buddy. Okay, so I'll try again. Ready? Ivan Doles Spayo. I'm sorry. Sorry. I hate butchering your name. So it says, okay, try again. And this is, okay, Fender Baja, best budget Telecaster? Thanks. Okay, so Fender Baja is the best budget Telecaster? What are they up to now? Are they $799? Are they getting up there in price? The Baja is a great Telecaster. My favorite, it's hard to say that's the budget Telecaster because obviously the Mexican standard is $600. So in the Baja range, I would say my favorite two Telecasters. How about this? I'll say it this way. My favorite two Telecasters that are not over $1,100 are the Baja and the American Special. Those are my two favorite Telecasters. So if you're not looking at the Pro Series stuff at $1,400 or anything above that, I think the Baja and the American Special. But I like the American Special a little bit more than the Baja. But that is because the Baja has a big neck, and I like the smaller neck on the American Special. So, but that's the bigger neck is what gives the Baja some of that kind of meaty tone. So there is okay. So that was a good QA, man. You guys were fun. Okay, William Gonzalez says, Phil, last question. Okay, what is the model of the brown PRS that you have? I want one. The brown PRS? Oh, you're talking about my Mira? It's a Mira, but they don't make them anymore. It's just a PRS Mira, but it's a core. Now, they make the S2s, and I think the quality is fine on the S2s compared to this Mira. When I say fine, I mean they changed it. So this has the smaller neck. I have a pattern thin neck. The S2 is going to be the pattern regular, or the fatter neck. And this has 24 frets, and the S2 has 22. I don't really care about that, so you know. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a PRS Mira. When will you have, okay, Francisco says, when we have the Know Your Gear t-shirt with SG? Let's look again. One more time. Ready? September. I know it's probably far away, but that's when it comes. The SG one is in September. But leave comments down below and help me with this. Like I said, I'm open to any suggestions, right? We're messing with all kinds of stuff. We're obviously doing those guitars. Should we make those guitars a color? What should we do? But any suggestions is great. The idea is, again, is that I'm trying to make it to where when you wear these shirts, the reason why I keep doing the limited stuff, besides the fact I get to tell when people did it, but this stuff is I want it to where it's your personal kind of thing. You know what I mean? You feel like that shirt, you know, speaks to you a little bit. Because this is a community here, I want this relationship to be that way. I want it to feel, you know, more personal. So, so there you go. Oh yeah, see, Brian Stewart said yes, color guitars and shirts. We've done some too. We did it when I did the cross shirt stuff. So that'll be cool. So there you go. Like I said, we'll keep adding this stuff. We'll keep doing this stuff. Thank you guys so much. Oh, Gibson Explorer shirt. See, that's a great suggestion. That's why, like I said, I left some of the shirt, the months blank, so we can do stuff like that. And the last one, Tim Langdon says the Boss Dynadrive thoughts. Okay, so what I'm working on is something a little different right now. Instead of doing all these videos of all these pedals I bought, I did one the other day. I started it. A video where I talk about a bunch of different pedals and why. So try to make it more entertaining that way. So and sorry, I'm just checking out because still a lot of you on here. Okay, wait. So we'll do a little. We're over anyways. But the question was, oh, the PRS shirt. Somebody's asked me about the PRS shirt. I know we're talking about shirts now, but hold on. PRS shirt. Oh, you know what? The PRS shirt is the June shirt. Right? Yep. PRS is June. No, I am wrong. PRS is April. There is no shirt for June. That's one of the blank spots that we can add a shirt. So, so there you go. And oh, Sonia Jones says, hey, will you make any more of the picture with the girl playing the guitar? Yes. So Sonia, just so you know, what we did is this is the feedback my wife gave me. So you can put in the comments what you think of that. My wife, when we did the girl shirt, my wife's suggestion was to not put the girl in a dress, but she did some of the editing on this. And if you notice on the new logo, she softened the shoulders on the stick figure, what I affectionately call the bathroom dude. Softened the shoulders so that it became more unisex looking. And I think the plan is to put, when they do the girl version now, ponytail, right? Does it make sense? And my wife is, because she said, I don't understand why it has a girl shirt has to have a dress on. You know what I mean? She said I don't know. I get it. The idea is to have fun with this. So that's why we do all the different ones. It's just to have fun. So yes, the answer is yes, but she's redoing it. So there you go. All right. As always, guys, I want to thank you so much for everything and hanging out with me today. And oh yeah. Okay. So, and then I know, so I knew somebody was going to say this. Shirt, the bass, a P bass, the jazz bass. I was going to do a month where we do a bass. What happened was we decided that that's something totally else, has something totally to do with something else. And so the bass shirt will become available soon, and that will be just always available, just like the regular shirt. There'll be a bass one too as well. But the problem was, I don't want to do those until the bass videos come out. And I have all this bass gear. I have so much bass gear right now to do bass videos. So I'm all ready. So there you go. And on that note, I'm going to have to leave you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone. So many of you today. As always, it was a great time. And until next time, guys, know your gear.